Hello, and welcome to this lesson which will show you how to develop a vision statement for your organization. There are several potential reasons to engage in a review of a corporate vision, such as a change in the corporate portfolio, perhaps after a significant acquisition, or that there has been a change in leadership and the organization is conducting a review of its long-term corporate strategy. After you have finished this training, you will be able to firstly, understand the differences between an organization's vision, mission, and strategy. And secondly, how you can develop your organization's vision. To begin with, let's look at what I mean by an organization's vision. Vision is often used in the context of corporate identity, mission statements, and both corporate and business unit strategies. So, what's the difference? Well, a vision is a description of where the organization wants to be in 5 to 10 years from now. The vision is supported by a corporate strategy which outlines how the organization will get there and realize its vision. For example, via organic growth or acquisition of new capabilities. Supporting the corporate strategy is the business unit strategy, which outlines how the organization will compete in each of its business units, such as low-cost competitive positioning or capability differentiation. Next, underpinning the vision is an organization's mission, which outlines why it exists and what its purpose is. For example, Nike's mission is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Also underpinning the organization's purpose are its core values, which explains what is important to the organization. And in Nike's instance, this relates to innovation, curiosity, and simplicity. Let's look at some examples. In 1927, Boeing's vision was to develop aeroplanes that will become tomorrow's accepted mode of speedy transportation. Fast forward some 89 years later, and Boeing's vision for 2016 had shifted to one based on innovation that focused on 3 business strategies. Firstly, run healthy core businesses. This strategy touches on what Boeing people do every day, which is designing and building the safest, highest quality aeroplanes, working with customers to understand the marketplace's requirements, improving processes, and reducing costs. Secondly, leverage core strengths. This strategy refers to moving the company's expertise, products, and services into adjacent markets, or profitably taking new technologies and applying them to markets and customers that Boeing knows extremely well. And thirdly, open new frontiers. This strategy refers to investing in long-term growth by turning ideas and expertise into business. Boeing's 2016 vision also includes a core set of values focusing on elements such as leadership, integrity, and quality. At Microsoft, its vision is to help individuals and businesses realize their full potential. The first component of the statement partially defines Microsoft's target market in that the company sells to individuals and organizations. And the second component shows what the business intends to do, which is to provide products that help customers toward the achievement of their full potential. Thus, Microsoft's vision statement presents the target market, what the company's technology products do, and what customers can achieve through such products. Note how some corporate visions develop over time, such as Nike's Smash Adidas vision in the 1980s, which then evolved to be the #1 sports and fitness brand in the world in the 1990s, and then to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world this century. Underpinning a corporate vision is an organization's mission or purpose. Purpose has the power to transform not only our attitude about the work that we do, but the quality of our work as well. Take the following story. A man came across three masons who were working at the Gaudi Cathedral in Barcelona, chopping chunks of granite from large blocks. The first seemed unhappy at his job, chipping away and frequently looking at his watch. When the man asked what it was he was doing, the first mason responded rather curtly, "I'm hammering this stupid rock, and I can't wait till 5 when I can go home." A second mason seemed more interested in his work, was hammering diligently, and when asked what it was he was doing, answered, "Well, I'm moulding this block of rock so that it can be used with others to construct a wall. It's not bad work, but I'll sure be glad when it's done." A third mason was hammering at his block fervently, taking time to stand back and admire his work. He chipped off small pieces until he was satisfied that it was the best he could do. When he was questioned about his work, he stopped, gazed skyward, and proudly proclaimed, "I am building a cathedral." So there you have it. 3 people, 3 different attitudes, all doing the same job. If you're a business owner or executive, do you have a compelling purpose to engage and motivate your employees? Strong visions are frequently formulated as a Big Hairy Audacious Goals, or BHAGs. These are strategic business statements similar to a vision statement and are used to focus an organization on a single medium to long-term goal, which is audacious, likely to be externally questionable, but not internally regarded as impossible. For example, Coca-Cola's early BHAG was to sell cola within 50 meters of every single person on Earth, and Henry Ford's BHAG for the Model T car was for it to be so low in price that no man making a good salary will be unable to own one. Strong visions also provide a shared sense of purpose, such as the "I build a cathedral" analogy. And they also reflect a common set of values and behaviours, like you saw in the Boeing 2016 vision, relating to leadership, integrity and quality. A collective commitment to objectives, such as Henry Ford's vision to build a motor car for the great multitude, can ensure your vision is strongly aligned with the people in your organisation. It is worth bearing in mind that sometimes a new or updated corporate vision can change an organisation's growth trajectory. For example, if current momentum is sustained, an organisation can extrapolate to forecast where it will be in 5 years. But a more aggressive vision statement, perhaps from a new incoming CEO, can mean new corporate strategies are needed to ensure the organisation meets its new goals. Such strategies include reviewing the business unit portfolio or reviewing resource allocations. Here are 10 criteria of a well-designed strategic vision. Check these against your own organisation's vision statement. A vision should be based on a system of values, represent a break from the past, and be easy to understand and coherent. It should be credible, easy to share amongst those it impacts, and generate motivation. The vision should be clear, evocative, and appeal to the emotions. Be visible to people outside the organisation, and be limited in time outlook to 5 to 10 years. As well as containing some qualitative elements, such as success criteria, it should be ethically acceptable, actionable, economically viable, and timely. In other words, come at the right time in the organization's evolution. Now let's look at how you can develop your organization's vision. Vision development is typically a 4-step process. The first step is to collect propositions for vision themes and diagnose an organization's inspirations or uncertainties about the future. The second step is about synthesis and develops options for vision statements using common themes and consistent combinations. The third step is about crystallization and involves the board selecting a vision and testing it with certain parts of the organization to check for cultural fit. Finally, the fourth step is about communication and is where the new vision is marketed throughout the organization to ensure it is understood and to secure buy-in. All the steps require senior-level engagement and are usually played out in workshops, focus groups, and interviews with representatives from around the organization. I'll now go through each step in more detail. The first step is about focusing on creativity. As well as conducting an analysis of key trends affecting the organization, time needs to be spent rethinking the market the organization operates in and understanding changes in the value chain. For an end deliverable, what the team should be looking to produce is a list of vision themes that will be used for further analysis. For example, in the TV industry, traditional broadcasters are regularly having to think about their place in the value chain in response to new market entrants like Netflix and Amazon Video, who are delivering on-demand content over broadband connections in response to changing consumer viewing behaviors. Do traditional broadcasters head in this direction too and join these on-demand players? Or perhaps take a different approach and focus on their core competency of content production? The work in this step preferably needs to be carried out in a workshop-like setting to foster open thinking rather than as a desk-based exercise. When you organize your themes, try and collect an exhaustive and mutually exclusive list of the vital elements affecting your organization, the industry you act in, and how you want to be perceived to the outside world. When considering your organization, consider your core competencies, your business unit portfolio, and how you anticipate creating customer value in the future. For your industry, consider the mega trends you will be confronted with, such as the move to electric and hybrid cars in the automobile industry. Will you aspire to be a world-class leader in your industry, or will you be a successful follower? And what are the big technology drivers affecting your organization, such as the move to digital and online retailing? And finally, when considering your organization's identity and how it will be perceived by the outside world, take time to reflect on values and objectives, and how the organization wishes to be perceived in the context of leadership, attitude to risks, and how driven it wants to be in terms of achieving a desired market position. Think broadly and adopt a holistic approach to describing your desired future. Creativity workshops are a good idea when you need to challenge common assumptions and run through some what-if scenarios. For example, what happens in the future if you cannot have the factory capacity you once had? Or the technology you are producing becomes obsolete? Or you start to lose some key customers? Thinking out of the box helps an organization to break free from the status quo and explore new vision themes. Another way to tackle creativity workshops is to start with the end game. Which headlines would you like to see about your organization in 5 years' time? Then work backwards and identify the themes which will affect your organization as it strives to achieve these goals. Interviews with external parties, such as focus groups, friendly vendor partners, and investors, can also provide valuable outside-in views of how the organization is perceived externally, which can help to identify themes for your vision statement. Once you have a list of themes, you need to review them in more detail, which is why step 2 in the vision development process is called synthesize. The list of themes needs to be ranked in order of preference. One way to do this is for the steering committee to host a vision seminar with the key stakeholders to elaborate on the various options and gauge feedback. The slide shows an example agenda for such a seminar. Once you have a ranked list of themes, these should be shared with the executive committee. Interviews and discussions with key executives should enable you to narrow the list down to 2 or 3 preferred themes that can be used to draft up versions of a vision statement. Here are some examples of possible themes underpinning a future vision, such as global scope, high consumer satisfaction, or product innovation. Choices need to be made by the Executive Committee to narrow such a list down to 2 or 3 key themes. Step 3 in the vision development process is all about crystallization, which means confirming the final version of the vision statement with the Executive Committee and the CEO. Interviews need to take place with the CEO to discuss modifications and sticking points, and ultimately select a vision from the shortlist. The final version can then be tested with focus groups or interested parties from around the organization to check reactions and buy-in potential. Once these activities have taken place, a presentation of the final version should be made to the Executive Committee and the CEO. In the final step of the vision development process, the vision needs to be communicated to the wider organization and external stakeholders if appropriate. The key requirements for a positive reception of the new vision are: firstly, it needs to be visionary and aspirational, but realistic and detailed enough so that it is not ridiculed. Secondly, it needs to be communicated using plain and simple language. That means content people can relate to and buy into. Thirdly, the vision should address and answer key concerns of the organization's clients, employees, shareholders. Show that the organization has been listening carefully. And fourthly, it is important to demonstrate that the vision has not been imposed upon by top management, but rather developed jointly with all levels of the organization. So, in summary, successful visions have demanding character and are not limited to describing the actual business reality. The demanding character is measurable even for outsiders, and the content of the vision is sustainable. That is, it is backed by the capabilities, competencies, and resources of the organization. The vision has a clear business logic, and it respects the organization's roots and traditions. Finally, here are some suggested KPIs to track the value add of your vision development project. For example, survey and investor feedback, or the impact on the organization's share price and valuation upon announcement. Thank you for participating, and see you next time on another exciting business training lesson from Pontema.